Sumo. Hi everyone, I'm Crow77. Today we're going to take a look at a Paifu. That is a review of someone's game to, look at mistakes and that sort of thing. Now, most of these games come from my viewers, so if you're interested in getting in on the action, take a look in the description. We have a Discord server where you can just submit games that you want to. Now, there's also a Patreon if you don't want to wait in the queue and want to get right to the top of the list. So, without any further ado, remember to like and subscribe, and let's take a look at the game. Alright, let's get right into it. So the viewer that sent this in said that they can struggle with positional awareness and basically push-fold. So we're going to be trying to look at a lot of push-fold decisions, especially in relation to our position in the game here, and we'll see how that goes. So let's take a look. Starting in the north position here, so just right off, that is the highest win rate position. So it's minor, but with Agariyame on, that is when you win as the last dealer. If you're in first, you win. It actually does provide a bit of an advantage. So, decent start, as good as it gets, I guess. Don't mind anything so far, it's all pretty standard here. I do like discarding the one here, keeping the red dragon back. The one bamboo isn't really going to do anything for you. So good decisions here so far. As far as that goes. Now this is an interesting position to be in. So one thing you often have to be aware of is what winds, what dragons and everything do you want to hold. In this position, it's probably actually worse for us to get the north wind than a pair of guest winds. Just because it's early in the game, we want to push more aggressively. You don't necessarily want a pair that would negate a pinfill, which is what this one does here. So not necessarily a mistake or anything like that. Like we could still end up with 2 Dora, the red 5 and the 7 Dora if we draw it here. But just something to keep in mind as we're developing the game here and just kind of taking a look at what is best for each particular situation. At this point, we'll just deal with that. It is starting to get a little bit late in the hand here, though we haven't really progressed as quickly as we'd like to. Yeah. The important thing is to make sure we keep an eye out on opponents' hands, make sure they're not... hold on. Make sure that they're not too dangerous or anything. Okay, yeah, so I see what's going on here. So there's a couple options in this position here. So if we cut the north wind, like we saw here, it's slanting towards Tanyao. But it only has a couple tiles that actually improve the hand at that point. You have to get the 4-7 here or the 4-7 here. If we cut, say, what was it? The 5-mon instead, then we actually have 1 4-7 over here, as well as the 2, as well as the north wind. So it'd be a much wider sort of thing. Like it's not worth quite as much. But if we're not worried about the danger of, a central tile or what have you, it's actually going to be a little bit better to discard the 5 here just because of how many more tiles there are that hit Tenpai. Here I'm kind of 50-50 on it. Like the benefit of the Tanyao is pretty big here. And it does still allow the hand to be opened. But I'm not sure what I'd do here. I think just because of how late in the game it is, I would take the wider option. I think. It's a tough one, but we'll see how it turns out here. The good news here is we do still have the option for Sanshoku as well. And obviously that's the very ideal case, but it is possible either way. Okay, no. So this is a little bit too greedy in my opinion. So with only 1 row left, we're not going to hit Tenpai, reach, and get the win very often at all. So in this situation, we take the chi here. Take the chi, wait on 4-7 mon. They're still pretty live here, but we're discarding a pretty safe tile in order to do so. So even though we're losing the Sanshoku and the Dora acceptance, I think we still take it just because of how late it is here. Incidentally, there's the 4 that would have won this the game. Hard to say if it would have happened all exactly the same, but you know. Now, granted, if we end up as like the only person Tenpai at Ryukokyo or something, then it's going to be similar value. But at this rate, we're actually pretty far behind. Okay, get lucky on the last draw here. So we did make it to Tenpai. One other person Tenpai as well. So that was a no Yaku Tenpai as well over there. Surprised they didn't reach that. I wonder when they hit that. But okay, yeah, so probably call a little bit more aggressively here. The value of pushing the game along is a lot bigger than a lot of people give it credit for. But overall, not too bad. Okay, pretty decent starting hand here. No Dora just yet. We can accept quite a few of them though. Obviously, just drawing them is the question at that point. Okay. So the awkward thing with this hand is the bad shapes, right? So ideally, we want to try to find a way to improve those shapes, and that 6 is one of them. So if we accept the 6 here, it actually gives us outs to the pair over here. So like a good weight if we end up on that as the final shape. It also allows us 6, 7, 8 Sanshoku. It's a corner case, but it is still possible. But here I think we accept the 6 and discard the 8. You definitely don't want to blindly, accept tiles in the middle of a run just because that's usually good. Especially on a terminal run like this, discarding the 8 isn't really losing you much. Like, yeah, there's the outside chance of an Ipeiko or something, but I think it's better to just go ahead and drop that here. There just isn't that much tile acceptance left in it. But the value of keeping the 6 and keeping the Sanshoku chance or the chance to improve the hand is going to be a lot better in most cases. But this reach makes things awkward no matter what. So the nice thing here is we do have the 8 to discard. So we have this 8 and this 8 that are both safe tiles. Probably start with this one. And we'll see how it develops here, but we're definitely on the defense. Yeah, minor inaccuracy there, probably. I don't think it's a huge deal. But discarding the other one first allows us more chances to be able to push the hand if we get like the 3 and then the 7 over here. Okay, I don't mind that. Now we are Ishan 10. But if we make it to Tenpai, what are we going to do, right? So even though we're Ishan 10, I'd probably still be looking at breaking it if we had to. Okay, they find the 2 here. Yeah, unfortunate Mangan hand, but that'll happen. Still in second going into East 2 here, so no big deal. Looking down at a decent hand here, this shape here is a little bit awkward. So we'll try to improve that as we go here. Yeah, pretty standard cuts. That's a great draw, that 3. Now we're left with the Ryamen 4-5 pin. Okay. This is an interesting hand to say the least. Drawing 6 mon is ideal. That's an interesting draw. Hold on. So before we discard that here. So the problem is discarding the 5 here cuts off a lot of our chances to improve the hand long term. And like if we do that, we're kind of stuck with this 4-5, but I guess we do have the outs to draw the 3-6 as well, but that's just one set of tiles to leave us on a good weight here. See, the real issue is consecutive pairs are not very good. They don't allow a lot of acceptance or anything, it's got all that overlap right there. And the Shabo weight, the 4-5 weight there at the end is not very good either. So I think because of all that, I'd probably be looking at dropping either the 4-pin or the 1-pin. Probably the 4-pin, just because we're not likely to get back to a Tanya or anything with all these 9s in our hand. And the 1 will be a little bit safer later. But yeah, I think I prefer 4-pin here over the 5-mon. Yeah, especially this early, you don't necessarily want to lock in all the shapes if you don't have to. Okay. That wouldn't have really changed too much here. Not on that draw anyway. Nothing really helping at this point. So again, always want to focus on the opponent's hands. Player on our right isn't doing much. Okay, that's a pretty good draw here. So here we're waiting on 6, 9, 5. 9s are live, 6s, they're all pretty live still. Not the best weight, but it's fine. Yeah, we still take this Riichi for sure. So it looks like we're at a rank where people are gonna play pretty heavy defense. I say as is sumo something. Yep, well that's a hand. Yeah. Like obviously there's not much we can do if someone just sumos a Haneman, so not much to say there. I think the Riichi's still fine. Okay. Decent hand here. I want to try to get rid of these 1s if we can to move it around to Tanyao. I don't know why the south wind came out that early, and like I would discard the west wind over the south pretty much any day there. Having Dora back is very useful. Especially with a hand like this that doesn't really have a ton of options for value. Okay, there we go. That's the switch up I was looking at there. A little bit more awkward, but still has the Tanyao outs here. Hold on. Oh, this is a complex situation, isn't it? Yeah, I think that 7 is still best. The extra efficiency makes up for the potential loss of Tanyao and Pinfill. Yeah, that's fine. There's some traps there where you need to look at keeping that tile. But we make it to the Pinfu anyway, waiting on 1 4-mon, so again, Pinfu only, but still just a Riichi we take here. There it is. Yasume, so the lower end of the stick, but it is what it is. Getting her at least. Alright. It's a nice little win here, putting us in a pretty solid 3rd flip place, you know, almost 10,000 points above 4th. Still early though, so we can't just sit on that or anything, but it is something we want to keep an eye out for. We don't want to play too aggressively against them if we don't have to. I'm still trying to figure out that 8-mon a little bit. It's a little bit of an odd play, but it's an odd hand to begin with, so. Now, one thing we do want to be looking at is player to our right is on a Honitsu, right? They're not even trying to hide it. So Manzu are going to be safe, right? Oh, jeez. Hold on. So, yeah, 9 coming out. This is completely safe, obviously. There's the risk of feeding hands over here, but I don't think it's super relevant this early. We do need to keep an eye out for this hand though, because they're in a position where they might end up pushing this hand anyway. Okay, Good. Yep, we get this opportunity to cut the Manzu, and this one is even very safe still. So we have some outs here to make some pretty decent hands, but the problem is, in order to do so, we're going to have to discard this 8-so, most likely, which is not a safe discard at all. Like, it is probably about the worst tile in our hand, but that is a good way to deal with it, getting that pair there. Okay, so the 5 safe, that's fine. So player on our right here is probably on a Pinzu Honitsu? What is going on over there? So 3 coming out is completely safe against player to our right as well. Yeah. I'm just trying to stop and take a moment to figure out what they're on over there. Because it looks very suspicious, to say the least. So we just need to be very careful of this player's hand. Three is probably the safest way to go here. So the 7 isn't bad by any means, but I do like the decision to just iron fold here. And yeah, as expected, the 8 looks awful. Okay, not much we can do there, but still kind of a solid third. You know, it didn't really change our position very much. So nothing really changing going into this hand here. We do have one Dora already. Kind of a weird potential 1-2-3 Sanshoku around, which this player is going to maintain by discarding the 7-pin. I'm okay with that. So the interesting thing here is if we're going for the Sanshoku, it's discarding, like the play pattern is discarding 3 mon into 6-8 mon most of the time. Yeah, but that's just going to be better. Much easier to accept the Dora. Now we can, jeez, so many quick hands here. Oh wow, this is one we really want to push here too. Alright, so let's take a look at this. So we have, what, a 2 Shanten technically? I guess it's 3 Shanten, we don't have a pair, do we? Is that how that works? Hold on. So we cut this, draw this, cut this, draw, okay. So 2 Shanten. Sorry, it's late here, so I just need a moment with the math here sometimes. Yeah. Like, I think at this point, with this early 3-pin cut, I'm fine with discarding the 1-2. It's a little bit more aggressive, obviously, but this early, it's going to be hard to fold against them no matter what. Like, we have the option of going 2-mon, but I think just giving up that much potential value this early isn't the right way to go, so I'm discarding 1-2 pin here. Yeah, as expected. So then 2-mon is a safer, simpler play. But if you look at that early 3-pin discard, I think this 1-2 is very safe. Yeah. Yep, so didn't really lose out on anything there. Again, sumo hand, not too much you can do here. I don't want to sound too much like a broken record. Hopefully I'm not just saying, oh, nothing you could do there the entire game. I suppose it would be nice to know if you're just making all the right decisions and getting unlucky here. Alright, so holding the Dora this time, good. I really want to find this 3-pin, but it's a hard one to find too. Okay. At this point we're finding nothing. I hate hands like this so much. So 1 cut on the Dora here. Still want to maintain ours if we can. See, the problem is one of the outs for this hand is to end up with 7 pairs. But 7 pairs is so much better with that Dora in hand too. So the 2-mon allows acceptance of 3-mon specifically. But but it is our 6 block. So I think by, you know, 5 block theory and everything, I'm still cutting 2-4 here, probably. Just because it's an extraneous shape, like our next improvement, we're going to be cutting one of those anyway. Probably the 9s, actually, now that I'm looking at it. Yeah, the 2 9s are probably a better cut here. Oh, that does kill the Chiitoi. No, I talked myself back into it, so I'd probably hold on to this North Wind, discard the 2-4, since that's our weakest shape. Like, the shape doesn't even upgrade, really, because if we draw the 5, that's already connected to the 6-7 here. So with all those interactions and everything, I think I'm just discarding the 2-4 here. It loses out specifically on the 3-mon draw, but discarding the Dora and misses out on the Dora draw. Naturally, we do draw the 2-mon here to undercut everything I just said, and that is a Chiitoi Tenpai. So Chiitoi Tenpai's dealer is 2400, Reach is 4800, then Sumo is 9600. So honestly, this is the kind of thing we want to Riichi. And I would actually consider it right there, right? So having the 4-mon cut here into the 3-pin. 3-pin, like, it looks like a normal developed hand still. Normally developed hand, rather. So because of that, because it's so hard to read the Chiitoi, seeing 2 of the 8s gone over here, it's going to be a lot harder for people to use that 7. So even with 1 cut, I think I go ahead and reach on the Tonki 7-mon here. Just with the Tsuchi trap once cut, I think it's worth it. Oh, that's unfortunate. That would have been an even better one. Yeah, I like playing Chiitoi Nomi hands a little bit more aggressively, personally. Just because the odds of, like, the 20% chance of just randomly getting a Mangan or better from the Ura is very good. And now this 3-pin is safer, though. Yeah. Hold on. What? Did I miss something? I did not. So this is a mistake here. With cheese like this, always remember that they're still in the discard pool. So that 4, I think it's completely fine there still. Like, I don't read this as being a flush or anything weird like that. It just looks like a Tanyao hand. So with an early 3-so discard into Ching of 4 or so, I don't think they have any 4-so left in their hand, or anything around the 4-so left in their hand. So I'd go ahead and take that 4 discard, especially since a lot of the tiles that can use it are getting cut now, and just keep waiting on the 3 here.
Run! Ninpo! Tenbou Nusumi no Jutsu! Riichi! 3色同順 Dora!
Yeah, it's not exactly what we wanted to see. You know, player and last getting a Mangan here. So now we're on a much narrower 3rd. I do want to go back and take a look at our opponent's hand here real quick. Yeah. So as expected, nothing anywhere near that tile anymore. Just pretty safe to push this 4-so still. Definitely something to keep an eye out for. Because even though this looks scary over here, the discard pool doesn't tell the same story. It does not look like a flush or anything. So try to maintain the Tenpai and just play a little bit more aggressively, especially when the discarded tile is completely safe against the Riichi. Alright, moving on to South 1 though. Pretty advanced starting hand here. Isolated door is a bit awkward, to say the least. But we'll see what we can do with it. Next cut is probably the 4-so on any improvement. Depending what the improvement is, I guess. Oof, so... So we're right back to that problem of discarding this 3-pin leaves us without really any value here. I definitely prefer cutting the Forso, locking in the Ryanman. And honestly, it sometimes will just even end up as Dora Tonki, just waiting on another 3-pin here. And I'm okay with that. But this just kind of leaves us in a bit more awkward spot. There's just no value here. She's going to be a pin Funomi again, if that. That does help with the Tanyao here.
Pon de gozaru. Sumo. Ninpo. Muchu shoyu no
Some
jutsu.
people's hands are just so quick here. At least it's a pretty cheap hand. Still puts us in last, but only by a very little bit here. Now this is an interesting one. This is one that people often see and just really want to go for that half flush. But you always want to hedge just a little bit here. Like this 5-6 speeds up our hands so much. So at this point I'm looking to discard these extra honors. Especially with the East call, just starting with the East there is completely fine. Yep, good choices. Hold on, sorry. I'm debating if pawning that 7-mon is the way to go. Like, I don't normally like just blasting off into a Tanyao only hand, but it'd be better than just letting the dealer keep on their run too. So if we pawn those 7s, that allows us to chi the 5-8 as well, right? Yeah, I'm not completely crazy. And worst case, we can always con it later if we need to. Is that the way to go though? Maybe not. I might be overthinking it here. No, I think I am overthinking it. I think this is fine.
Pon de gozaru. Riichi.
Alright, there's another pretty quick Riichi. Yeah, not much we can do with the 4-mon. Still maintaining some aggressive ability here.
Riichi.
And that's a tougher one though. So the problem is the 5-6 already look very dangerous, right? And one of the 5s is cut. This is just such a bad weight here. I think there's an argument to Dama it. I don't think I'd reach you this here. There's also a lot of draws where, like, if we draw 4-7, so then we can switch to Pinfu by discarding the 7-mon, which is completely safe as well. Yeah, I don't like it. I would Dama here. Oh, I was like, wait, what are we waiting on? It's because the click didn't take, apparently. Yeah, and there's that Forso draw. Jeez. Unfortunate. No pun intended. Oh, that just feels so bad here. So with the line I mentioned there, we would have Riichi'd here on Tanyao Pinfu. Ipatsumo for the Mangan minimum. Yep. Unfortunate. Yeah, just the combination of how bad this weight is on top of the potential for the upgrades here. I just don't think it made sense to Riichi. Oh, that doesn't look great. Yep, nope. At least it's a Riichi only. Still sinks us a little bit though. So we need to get something going here. So what are we down? It's at 35, yeah, 3,500 down from 3rd place here. So trying to figure out the positions and how we can fight back here. So 3,900 obviously is the breakpoint that we want to go for, that 3 and 30 hand. A few different ways to do it from here. I don't know about that 6-so discard though. The 6-so is one of our avenues to get more value out of this hand. Because we could end up with a 4, 5, 6 run in each suit pretty easily. So here, I'd probably look at preserving the Tanyao and discarding the 3-mon. And keep the 6 open, maybe. No. I think it's fine either way, actually, now that I'm looking at it. So I'm okay with this. It just feels weird for some reason. And there's the 1. So I arguably would have gotten punished with the lack of acceptance there. But at the same time, are we going to Riichi for Reach Pinfill? It's an awkward position to be in.
Riichi.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's the right play here. It's just not the value that we need. Unless we get the Dora, of course. But there's one of them gone already. Not like anyone's going to discard a Dora into us here. Yep. So it looks like we're actually going to end it Ryukokyu most likely, which is fine, right? Like that's the same. Oh, jeez. No, that's great. That's fantastic. We do hit the Ura for the Mahjong too. Okay. So that is the value we needed. We're in second now. Okay. Second with kind of crazy hand here. What is this? Like the problem is with this kind of hand, or this kind of position, I want to take fast wins, but this hand has other ideas. Playing a bit more aggressively here. I don't know if I like that pawn. So now we're left without a pair in hand. So it doesn't actually progress our hand or anything. I don't think that pawn did enough for me to take it. It's better usually to have the pair of honors back in order to play defensively or something if we need to. Yeah, you're committing hard to this Chansa though. See, this hand just gets so much worse so quickly. The thing that saves us is drawing the Paradora here. Yeah, I don't like this. We're kind of pigeonholing ourselves a little bit here, I think. Yeah, when we want to be taking a fast win, instead we're really pushing hard here, and wow, and the 9-so into an Riichi too, unsafe. I think this is too aggressive. Okay. Yeah, I definitely like slowing it down here. Like, we're completely fine with them winning the hand, honestly. It's the player on our right we have to watch out for.
Riichi.
Yep, we're just defending at this point. Oh, jeez. This is a hell of a game. Interesting that they just dominate that hand, though. That's a strange one. I mean, I guess it's 40-10, but still being behind like that, they're still behind, right? Like, I guess technically they're not. Yeah. Right now we're in striking distance of first. If we deal into less than a Mangan hand from a player not to our left, then game continues to west. Obviously we don't want to deal into something like that still. But what are we looking for? We're looking for 5,900 points, which is such an awkward number. 5,800 is easy to get. 59, not so much. So, how do we do this? Mangan will do it. So, the half flush is an option, but it's going to be a tough one. Yeah, it's just a very normal hand here. I'm wondering if that's too safe here. So, with the situation we're in, if Toyman or Kamicha here, I can't remember right now, player to our right, if they sumo a Mangan, it puts us in last because of the Oyakaburi. So that's an awkward place to be. So I think I would want to discard these dragons a little bit earlier and play a little bit more openly and aggressively, especially with this 1-2 in our hand. Now we are Ishanten here. We could have like an 8-mon trying to upgrade things right now. At the same time, we also don't want to deal into anything. It's such a weird position. Yeah. I do wonder if they would have had that if we discarded earlier. So in this kind of situation, this 8-pin doesn't actually do very much for us. And the 8-pin looks fairly safe on the board. I think the 8's a better discard. Like, even though it's close to the shape, like if we draw a 7, it's furry 10. If we draw a 9, it's not very good. Like, there's just not much that really improves this 8 here. Versus the 5, we have everything around it we can still draw, including Dora. I say it looks safe. I wonder if it was safe last turn. Not worth going back and checking. God, that's just such an awkward score, too. Has to be 1,300. Ugh. Yeah, a little bit unlucky here. Hold on, let's see if we can go back here for just a moment. It'll take just a moment here. Okay. So this was our last position. Yeah, I guess the 5-mon has the benefit that it is completely safe against the player to our left here. Yeah, I don't know. Real question is, were they Tenpai here as well? Yes, they were. Yeah, it's just such an awkward position to be in. I think at this point, just because of how kind of bad of a situation we're in, like if we deal into anyone, we lose. If anyone sumos a Mangan, sumos enough to end the game, basically, we lose. Like at this point, we're rooting on the player to our left to roll in one of our opponents or sumo, which is not really where I want to be in games. So yeah, I think at least with this hand, like when you're down points, you need to get a win. Playing a bit more aggressively is kind of what you want to be looking at. Look for opportunities to push hands a bit more. Like the Chiitoitsu hand that we saw broken and everything. But yeah, take a look at that, and hopefully some of these comments were helpful for you. If you want to submit your own replay, feel free to join our Discord. There'll be a link down in the description, and we'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.